I could sit here and give you some real deep philosophical thing with it. For me, it feels the same, but I don't have possession of the songs like I used to have. They're the fan songs now, and I see the reaction it brings them, and I never tire of playing them because I'm feeding off that energy back from the audience. So I could play the song for the 100th time, the 1,000th time, and while it may be repetitive in theory, it never feels that way because every audience is different, and you feel that energy.
Put a pep in your step, turn your frown upside down, make it more fun to be around. Instant mood improver, instant mood improver, instant mood improver. The songs that make you feel happy again.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining another episode of Instant Mood Improver, a happy music podcast, the podcast where we talk to people all about the songs that instantly improve their mood the moment they hear it, and use that as a leaping off point for a broader discussion about the role that happiness plays, or music plays, in our happiness. Today's guest is the wonderful Chris DeMakes from ska punk legends Less Than Jake. Chris, it is a thrill for me to have you on this podcast as a Less Than Jake fan, but also as a regular listener of Chris DeMakes A Podcast. How you going?
I'm going great, man. Thank you so much for the kind words. I really appreciate it, and cannot wait to come back to Australia. It's been a hot minute.
Indeed, and now you're coming down for a tour, which is going to make a lot of people incredibly happy because you're doing your Hello Rockview shows down here. Now people, fucking froth this record.
Yeah.
Bit of a landmark in your career, and a bit of a landmark in the space of audio recording, as I've learned from listening to your your various podcasts. Is it fun going back and revisiting these tunes this far removed from the moment you recorded them?
It's been a minute now. We've been on the run for about 18 months now. We're going to be wrapping it up in Australia. The Rockview album started last year and went into this year. So it's been a minute since we've been playing all of them. But prior to that, the record was so popular for us that at some point or another we pretty much played all the songs over the years. Where there's some records where there's some stuff we just hadn't touched. It was just kind of like a studio thing. So it's just amazing to go back and put a fresh eye on songs you wrote when you were 20 years old.
Do they still mean the same thing to you, or have they grown? The songs grown in terms of your appreciation of them and the meaning of the songs themselves from watching the way other people connect to them?
Yeah, of course. I could sit here and give you some real deep philosophical thing with it. For me, it feels the same, but I don't have possession of the songs like I used to have. They're the fan songs now, and I see the reaction it brings them, and I never tire of playing them because I'm feeding off that energy back from the audience. So I could play the song for the 100th time, the 1,000th time, and while it may be repetitive in theory, it never feels that way because every audience is different, and you feel that energy.
Yeah, I mean, it seems almost like songs are no longer your property once they're out in the world anyway. Like the listener gets to put their own spin on what they mean to them and the experiences they have, and they bring all of that emotion with them and all of that meaning with them to the show when they come to see you. So that has to be a really cool thing to be able to stand on stage playing and witness, seeing people go into these special moments for them that trigger positive memories, and you're the source.
Absolutely. I think I'm more appreciative. Not I think. I know I'm more grateful and appreciative of it now because I never thought I'd be doing this at 30, 40, and I'm 50, and I'm still able to take this band out there and people want to hear the songs. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's awesome. And as a person who was around when that record first dropped and saw the response of it, I was quite young, but the first thing I thought when I heard it was that it instantly improved my mood because ska has a very upbeat kind of track to it, which makes it particularly pertinent for this podcast we're on right now, where we talk about the music that instantly improves your mood. And it makes me wonder, what does that for you? What's a song that instantly improves your mood the moment that you hear it?
Well, I'm going to give a nod to Australian punk rockers and dear friends, Frenzal Rhomb with "Never Had So Much Fun."
Frenzal!
How can you? I mean, how can you hear that song and not be happy? What an anthem! What a great positive, upbeat song. And yeah, that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, I'm definitely not gonna disagree with you here. This song instantly improves my mood too. So let's get into it a little bit. What is it about this song that you think makes it a such a positive and uplifting mood
Well,
booster?
just the intro is the most ridiculous thing ever. It's Japan talks about, oh god, what's the lyric now? I'm blanking on it. Talks
Yeah,
about smoking. The air in Los Angeles is crappy. The intro is amazing, and the lyrics are, typical Frenzal Rhomb, self-deprecating. This is horrible, but I've never had so much fun. It's just like, how can you not have fun with that?
such a unique song in the Frenzal Rhomb repertoire as well. They do repeat the trick later on, but it was the first time I remember hearing Jay just isolated like that, being like, "I smoked."
Yeah. Thank you for getting me started. Now I remember the lyric. I smoked a half a cigarettes before midnight. Coughed up a
Great accent.
lung around one. I can't see a thing through my eyes that sing. Never had. It's like the lounge version, but yeah, that song is awesome.
It is awesome, and it's definitely a mood booster all around Australia, and I'm sure around the world. Now, I'm curious. I'm assuming the answer is yes, given you play in a ska punk band. But has anyone told you that the music of Less Than Jake instantly improves their mood the moment they hear it?
Yeah. People do. I would say people say it in their own way on a daily basis. We get a lot of nice messages from people, and um, yeah, that's besides having a what do you want to call it, a career, to be able to be privileged to play music for that's how you make your livelihood, to still be doing it and have people that care about it. It's amazing. I mean, how many bands there are out there, to have the opportunity to come back for now, I don't know, 12th, 13th, 14th time to Australia. That in and of itself is a privilege. I have friends that haven't ventured out of more than 2 or 3 states in America. That's just, and I'm sure people like that in Oz, that's where they live. They uh, can't afford to travel or don't want to travel or whatever, and I still get to do it.
That's so cool, and you're right. I do know people in Australia that have barely left my hometown. I come from a coastal area, much the same as as a lot of Floridians, and not a lot of people tend to leave. And those that do tend to really leave. Like they tend to leave regularly.
Yeah. Well, and the grass is always greener. I travel for a living. The worst part of my job is airports and airplanes. The rest of it's gravy, right? Being on stage is awesome. That's the best part of the day. And so I have minimal complaints.
I hear you there about airports. I don't think anyone has ever enjoyed the experience of being in an airport.
No, they make you not want to be there, so.
Now, this record is being listed as one of the 20 pop punk albums that make you feel nostalgic by NME, but they're irrelevant in the context of this chat, because the question I want to know is that a quality of the music you find makes you feel happy, that that it draws on nostalgic elements and brings back positive experiences you've had?
Of songs that I like, or,
Yeah,
or Hello Rockview?
that you
Okay.
like. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, yeah, I think that's, I've met very few people, but I've met people that, what kind of music you like, and they look at you like, yeah, just whatever's on. You got a favorite music? No. You ever listen to music? No. They don't get the hair on the back of their neck standing up, or those goosebumps, and it doesn't move them like that. I've had friends of mine who are passionate about drag racing, and they'll start to talk to me about that. And I don't know the first thing about it. I'm not interested in it at all. And that's kind of like the same look I give them back. They probably don't understand how I could be that ambivalent towards it. But music's just the gift that keeps giving. It never gets old. It's constantly evolving. It's constantly changing. There's constantly new artists, and it's never been easier to access music in humankind. It's never been easier to at the you know click of a button to hear whatever kind of music you like, and with the podcast, that's completely changed my whole outlook on music. It's made it beyond exciting again, because I started to get old in my mind, probably maybe in my thinking. I started a family, and you start to question life, and life in and of itself takes over, and you're trying to find hours in the day to listen to stuff. And the podcast has been the greatest thing. I've discovered some really amazing music the last 4.5 years.
That's awesome. It's definitely a regular listening point for everyone in the band I play in as well. I play in a Melbourne punk rock band called Catholic Guilt, and we're actually fortunate enough to be used as one of the bands you might not know on the podcast.
I was going to say, I featured you guys on the show, so now I know who you are. Perfect.
And that was a thrill for us, just to hear us on the pod in that regards. And it's just a really cool thing listening to these songs get broken down. And I think a lot of people wish you would do more Chris DeMakes breaking down Less Than Jake song episodes. But I mean, that's what all your media is for, right?
I guess so. Yeah, I'll take that into consideration, though.
Now, if you were to play one song off of Hello Rockview for the rest of your life, only one song off this record, what song would you choose?
Oh, geez. Well, we've played this song probably at every Less Than Jake show since it was recorded, so I'm probably going to go with All My Best Friends Are Metalheads. And I don't have to sing it. Roger has to sing it, so I can sit back and just play guitar. It's great.
That's very true. You do have that unique kind of tandem going on with this band, or not unique, but not as common tandem of having the multiple vocalist approach. Have you found that that's influenced the way that you write songs over the years?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's times, rarely, but there's times when I'm getting ready to go up to the mic years ago, and Roger would be like, "Man, I think I should sing these verses. It's kind of more in my range." And this is after we had been playing it, and I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah," or I might say it, and sometimes we'll do it, and it's like, "Oh yeah, that feels right," or it doesn't feel right. So you just kind of learn what works over the years, and it's actually been great. The older that we get, we have half of the workload of other bands that just have one vocalist.
Yeah, it's awesome, and it looks like it creates a lot of sonic freedom and the capacity to branch out into areas that you might not be able to if you just had the one voice to play with. And I think it's definitely been an influential thing on other bands in your genre space and externally, showing them there's a lot of freedom that comes with having a lot of collaborators.
Yeah, for sure.
I do have to let you go in a moment, so you can move on to your next press engagement. But I thought it might be fun for us just to talk about how you haven't become jaded and you've stayed connected to new music despite being there at the starting point of the Pro Tools generation. Do you ever kick back listening to records and kind of marvel at just how far music production has come?
Oh, all the time. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I also marvel in reverse at how good some stuff was recorded analog from all decades, 60s, 70s, 80s, that the technology today couldn't match the feel and the tone and whatever, sound frequencies that were bouncing off that, tin wall in the back of the room when they recorded that Motown song. You know, you can't replicate that. So I like it all.
It's pretty good. And I do think music keeps you young. I think it's fairly obvious from the members of Less Than Jake that music keeps you young because you all still look pretty much like spring chickens. You still got all that energy up on stage to rock out with. And hopefully you can pass on some of those youthful genes to those youthful vibes to Australian audiences when you come down for this tour, this Hello Rockview tour, which is hitting in October, a point at which unfortunately I'll be in your country.
Backwards.
Backwards. So I'm gonna miss this time around. But I must say to everyone that's listening, Less Than Jake shows are so much fun. You should definitely get out and grab a ticket to this tour and check them out. And if for some reason you're listening to my podcast and haven't listened to Less Than Jake's Hello Rockview record, go listen to it. It's incredible. And I'm going to sign off with the song that instantly improves my mood the moment I hear it from this record. And that is, I mean, the whole record really. But if I'm being forced to isolate one song, it would probably be History of a Boring Town. I love this song.
All right.
Awesome. And that brings us to the end of another episode of Chris DeMakes A Podcast. Chris DeMakes A Podcast. Wow. Of Instant Mood Improver with Chris DeMakes from Less Than Jake and Chris DeMakes A Podcast. I'll get in there and edit out that gremlin. Thanks for joining us today, Chris. It has been a delight to chat to you. And yeah, see you. I won't see you in October.
Cheers, mate.